译者好像他的网络是不是不太稳定？
对啊，对啊。
没关系，还是秉如你请那个 Mrinal 嘛，就是先介绍他好了，介绍一下我们今天的讲者。
好，那但谁要来翻译？
我觉得可以先介绍讲者，因为这些资料应该译者也有，所以他们待会可以再补充介绍这样。
好，那我们的译者的话是印度国立伊斯兰大学的艺术史与艺术鉴赏系的助理教授。那他叫做不好意思，我觉得这个等一下请他来讲好了。雨晴，我们先请讲者开始好不好？
好，可以。秉如，你要不要稍微先为观众介绍一下今天的讲者？
好，就我们的讲者的话是Millia Kulkarni，他是我刚刚其实有讲过的。对，那他是那个印度巴罗达大学的艺术学院的艺术史和美学学位的学士和硕士。那他的过去研究领域聚焦在当代视觉艺术的实践和女性主义的研究，另外也涉及到关于新媒体艺术和策展实践，并在过去20年持续教授这个艺术史的课程。那他的文章也发表在很多印度当地的艺术媒体。对，那等一下我们今天的讲题是关于那个后人文主义身体和视觉性。那Mrinal 他会用他们处在一个南亚的视野来为大家谈这两个词是如何在印度社会中和这个科技界面有着怎么样不一样的展开。那我就把时间交给他。这个雨晴可以帮我说，就是先请他开始，谢谢。
Okay, let's welcome Mrinal Kulkarni. And hello, Mrs. Kulkarni. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Please.
And
yeah. Hello. Welcome.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. So let's start to your presentation. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. 于静，麻烦你播放一下简报。Okay, please. Sorry.
No problem. Is it visible?
Yeah, we can all see your presentation now.
Okay. When I was asked for suggesting 2 terms to present for this the dictionary for art terms, South Asian, the Asian, so the 2 terms which I had suggested, that is the visuality, and the post-human body. So even if it started with just simple these two aspects, that is the post-human body and visuality, but later on we added into certain other kind of issues also, like related to the market, especially NFT and all. So the presentation will, at present I'm only presenting this post-human body visuality, but I will later on add, because the paper which I have, in that it is the NFT and everything. So that I will discuss after the presentation, the whole thing. I may not read it, I will just go on talking. I hope if I'm too fast in speaking, please stop me there itself and tell me to control my speed. Actually, art history as a study, because I'm an art historian, so naturally we are trained from starting on how to look at the things. So what is the vision? The complete the whole art history of the discipline is completely based on what to look at it, how to look at it, and where to look at it. So the seeing or the vision becomes a very important aspect. And it's also founded on this assumption that sight is a physical act of vision and visuality. Vision is considered to be the more physical, and visuality is considered to be more ideological or more political. It is argued that the scopic regime has related seeing with knowledge. In due course of history, it got connected to the idea of visibility, identity, and thus the discourse of on gaze. So visuality becomes a very important aspect when the whole discourse on the gaze comes. Especially we can see that coming from the whole Foucauldian discourse on looking or seeing as a position of power, and or Derridian concept of right to look. Because one side there's a power system with which the one is looking at it, other side the person who is getting looked at also has the right to look back. So these are the kind of discourses which bring the whole concept of define the whole concept of visuality, and this becomes a very much the discourse by reconstructing the images created out of visual experiences. Although this contemporary discourse is equally visual centric, it developed a visuality discourse beyond the heroic visualization of history. Because the first time the discourse on visuality started, that happened in the colonial period, or I should say it was talked by the Hell, who was an Irish, sorry, not Irish, Scottish scholar, and he talked about the British colonialism all over the world. And he talked about, considered visuality as an important aspect of the hero, basically the colonizer. And Mirzov or the Derrida then questions that the counter visuality, which is the colonized person also look at the colonizer, and how that discourse brings it to them. So this becomes visuality at present, or I will say not at present, but specifically last 5-6 years has become more important for one reason, because the way everything is turned into a visual. Like even words which I have typed are also now seeing or understanding as a visual. So when everything is controlled into the visual, the presence or absence of any kind of idea is completely based on how much you are visible, how much you are present. So the presence and absence, when it is related to the visibility, the whole discourse of visuality becomes much more important in this context. So that of course brings the discourse from different the representation of the body also. Because in pre-modern concept, the body was very much related to the imitation of nature. Like we see that as the Renaissance, or even in Indian art or the Chinese art also, or any kind of art forms where even if it was not directly the imitation of nature, the reference was to the nature. Reference was always to the nature, and nature was the one point from where we get references to the nature. So the imitation or references to nature, there has to be something which is present in front. So this pre-modern concept of body very much decided on that kind of thing. That is immortal body, which will, of course, the body which is idealized, even if the whole discourse that was even the physical body was presented in many of the artworks, the idealized body was presented in the artworks. So whether it is any kind of culture, I will say that I take that it is Indian, Asian culture, or African, or say European, or Latin American, and all, everywhere we can see that the idealized concept of the body is present, not the physical body. The physical body only comes very much into vogue in the modern period, and that gets related to the physical desires and sensuality, sexuality, erotica, everything, and that changes then the whole concept of body. So that is the kind of shift from the immortal body to the physical body, which is not immortal, but still it is object of desire, object of desire, object of possession. Possession by oneself also, and the possession by the other also. That is where the discourse on the gaze, through the gaze, how we can possess a particular body. So the whole this, I am intentionally trying to discuss first I talked about visuality, then I'm coming to the visuality of body, and then I will go into the post-human body. Because that complete that discourse which started with the scientific fictions, how that then Catherine Kyle and all those scholars actually take it to the discourse on new media, because how the new media defines the body. So that is the complete half of my talk today. Later days were questioned through the concepts of fragmented body and gaze. I already said that fragmented body becomes a very important aspect when we start seeing the advertisements coming or the films coming. So the body as a fragmented, like a particular part of the body becoming that is supposed to develop from feminism. How is a fragmented body, and the gaze only looks at the fragmented body, a particular part of the body. The idea of the body through digital and virtual media reiterates how the gaze of others affects the observation of self and monitoring of the body. This especially becomes very important when we are now today in the time period of like Instagram or it starts with the social networking sites like Facebook, Instagram, because your feeds, your WhatsApp IDs and all those things, how you want others to look at you and how people make the image of you through your feeds or through your images which you are putting on Instagram, and the kind of Instagram as well as WhatsApp group as well as all those devices, they themselves actually edit it also. So even if you want it or not, it is getting edited by that software, and it puts your image in that even you are not aware that how it is, because that itself is editing your image the way that it, because that software works. So even the control on your image is no more in your hand when they're coming to this site. So the body which is getting represented is also changing more and more, becoming more and more different. So that is where the whole post-human body. It does not mean that that body is not related to the natural body, but it is getting transformed into a different kind of body, which is expected to be according to the virtuality or virtual space. The widespread presence of visual media offers the views of the world in visuals. They render the world in visual terms. These renderings are not innocent, but they interpret the world, present a worldview, and represent it. The theoretical projection analyze and contextualize the image's meaning, body, vision, and visuality. Because this becomes a very important aspect. Body becomes a very important aspect because it is getting into and repeated into the, because we as a human interacting with this virtual world, we also take our own body through that. So we also tend to look at that as the other. In Lacanian term, if I use the word other, so the other also we look at ourselves as the other. And it is, of course, the extension of that mirror image, but that mirror image is turning from photographic image to say the virtual. And that virtual image does not have the kind of identity you would have. So the innocent eye, which was never actually, even in pre-modern period was never, but it becomes much more strong when we are coming to, it becomes much more, I will say layered, not strong, more layered when we are coming to the contemporary time. W.J.T. Michel calls this new visual images as a post-linguistic, post-semiotic discovery of the picture as a complex interplay between visuality, apparatus, institutions, discourses, body, and figurality. This becomes because that's what I was talking about, visuality, that of course how you want to visualize your own image or others are visualizing, how you want to put forward yourself as represented yourself, on what basis, racial, gender-based, political, national, cultural, social, what are the ways? That is the one thing. Another apparatus, which apparatus you are using, through which you are doing. It can become the social network, it can become your photographs, it can become your DPs, it can become your writings or your art. That also becomes an apparatus through which you are putting your visuality. Institutions, because through which institution you are getting represented. That becomes another important aspect. Bodies, because the body in the end, of course, becomes the site of the whole discourse, which whether it is coming from apparatus, whether it is coming from institution, whether it is coming from your political position or the others who are looking at your political positions, that is the site. Body is the site of all this discourse. And figurality. Figurality, the term which W.J.T. Michel means is that is talking about the subjectivity of the figure, which is represented in a work of art. Because he is an art historian, so of course he is talking in relationship with the work of art, how the subjectivity of a figure comes. Because when we, I'm an art historian, I can't use the word we, but when the artist actually represents or draw a figure, that figure is not simple as an object, but it has its own subject. Of course, that subject is observed, or that is why he's talking post-semiotical discovery, because that subject is an subjectivity of that figure is observed through the viewer or through the interpreter, whoever is looking at that. And then that aspect of that figure becomes an important connotation. And when we are today, I'm going to discuss about many of these new media artists from India. I have to Indian new media artists. You will see that how the AI, where they are giving the the basic data to the machine, and on the basis of that data, how the figures are created by the machine, not a human being, and those figures then still have connotations which are related to the cultural background of the artist. That itself means that even if it is considered to be created by the machine, or we can say the post-human body structure, where human being is now more aligned with the machine, which actually first time Donna Haraway talks about when she talks about cyborgs, and she considers that how we are now, we can't think about visualizing ourselves, or we can't think about our own life without this media, like whether it is social media, whether it is a simple computer, or the virtuality, or the, even our WhatsApp images, WhatsApp discourses, or even call or video call or any kind of thing. So how the human figure or the human thing is more related to the machine. So even that the whole discourse mine is today, because we have discussed earlier that how the local, and that's why the title, the interface of the local and the virtuality is an important aspect when we are going to post-human, or the, because it does not mean that it does not have anything to do with your local identity. The local or the local is very much present within the whole conceptualization of that reality. Artistic meaning is understood as connected through interpretative engagements that are themselves performative in their intersubjectivity. This is what I was talking about, the performative in their intersubjectivity. When I said that, how I will, the next line when I read, I will talk about. The artwork is no longer a static object with a single prescribed signification, communicated unproblematically to the knowledgeable universalized viewer. I already discussed earlier when I talked about visuality, because when we talk about the subjectivity of the figure, that subjectivity at the moment artists draw, and when artist himself or herself look at it, the artist actually look at it as a, exactly like the mother look at a child. Because the moment child is umbilical cord is that the child is the other identity, no more the part of the mother. The same manner, the work of art, also the figure when it is drawn, does not have no more the kind of the human image, but the artist also perform as a viewer first. So artist distances himself or herself from the image which artist himself, the artist has created. So these are the kind of formativity, which becomes a very important aspect when we are coming to more media-based artwork. Because the performity is not only related with the act of drawing, but it gets more and more related with your performativity in relation with the performative of the machine. And how these two coordinated performativities define the body, which has a connotation to the post-human body. So these are the kind of discourses which are developing from that point of view, or moving beyond. So performativity is another aspect which gets related to this whole discourse of post-humanist body, because you are not only performing as your own on your. I will differentiate it from the performance art, because in performance art the body is directly present, but in new media art and all, body is acting as a performative agent, but it is not very much present in the sector. Instead, contemporary visual art and theory have underlined the artist as the first viewer of the work, and subsequent viewers are caught up within the complex presentation operations, entangled in subjective spaces of desire and projection and identification. So, as I already talked about, artist becoming a viewer. When artist becomes a viewer, the artist desire or the artist desire related to that object or that projection of the artist's personality to it, as a viewer, as an artist, both differentiates. And both performativity from there itself distances. And when we are coming to say the other viewers getting into it, then it gets more and more layered. And the whole concept of that whole figurality or the body shifts into various interpretations. In fact, infinitesimal interpretations. The visuality is configured through the discourses that would capture the vision and the technology to apply it. This reconfiguration enables a person, artist, to develop different tools for the reception and transmission of other expressions and experiences. This results in simulation of realities, spaces, and subject. This exactly happens, but the medium, of course, shifts from different point to different positions. Because once I will just talk about, like, say, earlier than early civilizations, like, say, Egyptian or the Indus Valley civilization in India. Early civilization where we say the body, even when represented there, that artists, their reception, or even restorative, if they are talking about the tools, a very simple tool, that is the coal or the whatever is in the drawn. The transmission of experiences is very much. So it is from very starting point of onward, we get to see this kind of issues coming. Of course, those embodied experiences were negated when we come to modern period, because there the art was considered to be very much only the mental process, not as related with the physicality of the body, and body was considered to be something negative. It was considered to be something derogatory, physical and ephemeral, and for that reason, it does not have a philosophical importance. So that is the time period where we see the body is very much presented as a very idealized body, very much conceptualized body, not as a much more physical or a body with all the desires and body with the excreta and so it was not taken into that kind of consideration. But these simulations become the part when we are coming to after, especially this become a discourse or developed with feminism, because feminism questioned the way women's body were discourse and the women bringing their own body in center, talking about the body as a physical existence or the body as a truth, the embodied experiences and representing those. So this aspects, the reality, space, and subjectivity, the simulation of this, when interacts, we are going to look at in the new media art, when interacts the kind of simulations which the machine is doing based on the given data. Right? This is the simple example I would like to take into consideration, like when we were taking the analogous photography, the earlier camera where we are just looking and it is captured on the roll, and the video we can manipulate that exposure to the light and all. And now the digital photography which we are taking through mobile or the camera source, because that is turning into the 1010 those kind of data, and that turning into a different kind of. So there the direct thing was exposed and captured. Here the machine makes the choices also, and that's why you get so many options in your mobile to edit it, which one you want, because that is the data can be shifted, data can be changed. So that simulation, along with the simulation which is happening in the mind of the artist, those two simulations and work, it creates a completely different layered concept of the body. I won't say the level, I will say the layered only, because I am not going to talk about whether which one is the higher level or no layer, because everything is existing contemporary. Everything is existing parallelly. Because one side there are new media artists who are dealing with the body in a different manner. There are still some of the artists who are doing painting and drawing. There are some artists still using the old photography. So there are different levels of artists. Or I won't say simple artists, even the people who are using different kind of things. So in reality, all the kind of concept of body is existing. So that's why I will not use the label, but I will say the different layers which are actually existing on those interpretation of what we talk. There is a criticism on post-humanist body. There is a criticism, there is a celebration of post-humanist body also. So different layers. And from being a feminist, my take on that becomes more different, because there are still many women who have not got a voice to talk about their own body. And in that context, when we talk about post-humanist body, that the conflict comes in. So these are the positions that I am taking. I am not going to talk about level. I will only talk about the layers which are coming to different kind of understanding. With the development of the digital technology, visuality is seen as a practice of giving the raw mathematical sequence of code in database with anthropologically and culturally accepted forms. I exactly talked that are like psychology, concepts of perception, and visual semiotics. That's relating them to familiar elements of traditional visual cultures like cinema, television, what Lev Manovich termed as new visual environment. This aspect raises questions about the concept of body and related visuality. I exactly talked in a detailed manner. I talked about that. But Lev Manovich actually even discourses about the kind of way, say, Instagram visuals basically see how many people follow you, how many people have seen it, and how many changes it brings with that. So when you take into the data into the whole concept, the whole study of the data, when you do it, it changes the whole way how the world looks at. And that, of course, it also reaches to that kind of a lot of issues which are related to body shaming and all. So we have that completely one can see to it, which is completely coming from that virtual aspect of when we are referring to the body. The proliferation of digital media transformed the relationship between objects, materiality, and its representation. Through interactivity, non-linearity, immateriality, new media challenges the object-centered understanding of art. That, of course, this was already the whole portion of immateriality was first we see in 1960s, coming through the discourse related with say the ephemeral art projects like site-specific installations or installations or performances, but still in the end it got documented in photographs or in video and entered into a museum. But of course, the discourses which started with the whole concept of immateriality started from 1970s, and not in 1960s, 1970s, and it moves back. And that, of course, brought the first discourse related to object-centered artwork. So no more an artwork which is related to creation of an object was discussed, or art can become just a concept that is moving forward. So this kind of object-centric understanding of art was discussed, but new media adds more layer to it. Because here now, the object is that's what the NFT is, because the NFT is like whoever owns that token. Token basically means that is the code which is there as the owner of that art. Others can copy and all, but no one can sell that. So they are not having the object of that work of art, but they are having just the code of that work of art, which is digitally available. So this kind of thing, like that object-centric understanding of art is getting different layer understanding when we are coming to NFT. It is interactive because how it only gets meaning when the other people are, the viewer is interacting. It won't have otherwise the other meaning. It is non-linear, it is not artist creating, putting, and viewer only has to use it. It is not, it is of course getting the meanings are shifting when you are using the different media. Immateriality already I discussed. So this is how it changes because the viewers interaction and the artist interaction, the moment work of art is in there, and the viewers interaction with it, that transforms the complete meaning of it. New media art has explored the agency of material objects and particularities of digital media and questioned the representation's notion. It represents a simulated visuality of the world. I already discussed what is the simulation. So, particulars of digital media and question the representation's notion. Like whether you are using VR, whether you are using augmented reality, whether you are using artificial intelligence, or you are just using simple digitalized and even how you are presenting, whether it is a gallery-based presentation or whether it is a internet-based presentation, those all also decides all changes the whole visuality of body. Because which manner, in which context you are putting the whole concept of body, representing that changes the whole understanding. New media art takes further representations as it is no longer needed to keep it in the mind's eye, but build it, walk through it, and manipulate it. That is the thing. Like it is work of art in an earlier pre-modern period, or even in modern period. The body was very much present in the mind, and through mind's eye, it was present. That's why the connection to the physical body was not accepted. And but in new media art, you can manipulate it because the viewer is interacting, playing with it, changing the codes, changing the meaning. Or you experience that when you are into that augmented reality presence, and you experience those kind of things that, of course, changes your understanding. So you can walk through it, you can manipulate it also. Russell Pollock mentions it as a shift from reproducibility to produce. So it is no more reproduced. Like earlier, as I said, always the references were to the nature, to the physical existence in the nature. But it is more produced also because the data is producing, or the certain kind of things are producing. So it is has, of course, it has the references because the human mind is working. Human mind is what you say, putting the data into the machine. So the references will come, of course, from the human mind. But it is the data also manipulates it. And how the other viewer is manipulating, or the interacting with it, that also changes. As an embodied art form, new media artwork registers the impact of information in its materiality and how its physical characteristics are mobilized as resources to create. Meaning, this way, artwork intermediates between body, artwork, and different forms. As an embodied art form, why I used the word embodied art form, because we never take into consideration the body of the artwork. We always talk, when we talk about the body, we always talk about the body which is represented in the work of art. But the work of art also has its own body, whether it is a painting, whether it is a sculpture, whether it is a new media entity, or whether it is a photograph, whether it is a installation or performance, of course, directly body is coming. But the work of art also has its own body. And that body has its own limitation, has its own possibilities. And how much you can explore or manipulate that limitations as well as the possibilities of that body actually defines also the kind of concept of body you want to represent. Earlier, in Renaissance period or pre-Renaissance period, you can see that the third dimensionality and how that is created. Or I will say in the Indian art and in Chinese art, the kind of, the spiritual, I won't say the word they use spirituality, but the, that whole coordination of the mind and the body, which results into drawing a line and making it into an object of art, which is totally related to it. Those are the kind of things which becomes aspect. The body of artwork also shifts. So it has been there from the starting, but with new media, it becomes a completely, because it is the other body, that is the machine, which has its own mind also. That's why Catherine Kyle calls it motherboard. She comes as to the mother's body. She says that because she relates it in that manner, like how the mother's body creates a new form, new life. In manner, the motherboard also works in relation to how the data is put and how the machine treats and creates that. So this is the machine has its own body. Machine works is exactly the way the human mind is working. So this body, which of course aesthetic body was there earlier in painting, sculpture, and other things, becomes more active body when we are coming to the work of art as a body. So these two simulations also work and give a different kind of meaning to the concept of body when we are coming to new media art. And that's what Catherine Kyle calls it he calls it post-humanist body. New media technologies such as web and file sharing networks gave artists easy access to font, images, sounds, text, and other media. This hyper-abundance of source material combined with the ubiquitous copy and paste features of computer software further eroded the notion that creating something from scratch is better than borrowing it. Picturing the modern concept of originality and appropriation became an increasingly crucial artistic strategy. These are the works which actually we see Mona Khatun's work or Stellark added many of these body machines to his own body and converting those machine, how that relates to the body and creating of course, these are the drawings, paintings and all, but those machines, how they extend to his hand. He gets one more hand. And those are the ways that they actually explore. This is the fragmented body by Mona Khatun presenting just the eye. It is only the video, it is not exactly existing, but the fragmented body presented very much into it and creating a kind of uneasiness for the viewer's body. The interaction with that fragmented body part related to the full body of the viewer, the present, the artist in herself, and the body extending more, having different kind of machines and other two bodies together working and creating the whole, the third concept of representing the bodies. So these are the kind of things which actually brings a whole discourse on the post-human body. Many new media artists continuously reflect artistry in their work, reinterpreting or updating projects from 1960s and 70s in the context of new technology. Along with the penchant for collaboration and marking tendency to appropriate rather than to create from scratch, this media archaeologist approach to art making exemplifies the attenuation of authorial originality in new media. Of course, the whole concept of authority was challenged when we see after the postmodernist discourses developing that how much, when I'm using the word author with capital A, that godliness or that godly existence which was given to the author in the modern period or the pre-modern period, that is completely shifting to the author becoming one among many, because post-semiotical studies also put forward that how the viewer also becomes an author by interpreting the work of art the way he or she wants to interpret. So that is the kind of that becomes much more, gets a different kind of layer, because here the originality, because you are having many of the images online available, you are using them, you are reinterpreting, so you are attaching them with this level which talks about that how the constructivist, many of the things were reused by many of the new media artists, like montaging, which was a tool which was used by many constructivists filmmakers like the film is and that was the first film which was Argentine, sorry, yeah, the filmmaker Argentine, and how he used the montaging to create the narration. Here, the montaging is used not to create a narrative, the linear narrative, but in new media, the montaging is created to counter the different visualities and develop a different kind of body. New media art applies different conventional artistic as well as digital tools to represent. New media art includes multiple networks through which these tools are mixing text, video, photograph, graphics, drawings, and sound. Moreover, new media technologies have also made it possible to create different versions of the same projects, such as interactive, non-interactive video, or web version, as I already told you. This break down the link between the identity of an object and its media. That is also that of course had to happen in 1970s itself, the whole breakup that has happened, like between sculpture, painting, and all that kind of thing. But this is more now differentiated into the other things. I already talked about montaging, but yes, the parody. As I said, that parody or pastiche, again, these are the terms which were used by, say, Baudrillard or many of the postmodernist authors, how those techniques actually change the meaning from the modern artworks to the 1970s onward artworks, where the used images are changed into different kind of context, and then the meanings are changed. So parody is used, the pastiche is used, and the idea that a complex visual expression can be constructed from simple visual elements. The new media art through hypermedia databases, search engines, data mining, image processing, visualization, simulation access, and manipulating existing images, similar to montage, takes further into representations, as it is no longer needed to take the world in the mind's eye, but build it, walk through it, and manipulate it. That's exactly happens when we go to when we experience augmented reality visuals, which are created in many artworks. I won't say artworks only, even the virtual reality theaters where you go and watch the movies and all. Or the virtual walkthroughs which we see online at many of the archaeological sites. It addresses digital media as an aesthetic experience. It furnishes the rich resources for encountering the digital age anew through visual, various textual and sensory forms, intrinsic to and critically engaged with digital technologies and culture. There's another concept which becomes a very important shift, which comes from, again, one thing I already talked about, seeing or the vision, which of course first time put forward in Renaissance. I would say just first, but it was of course discussed earlier than that also. But painting as a window, when it put forward, the whole concept of seeing or defining the world in a single point perspective, that kind of important metaphor in art history. And that's exactly the same metaphor was used when Microsoft termed this as a window. Because there are many terms they use which are historically same. But the difference between the window in Renaissance is that you are looking through it. But the concept of Microsoft window is that you are looking at it. So when you are looking at it, that means the body which is present in a different space. You are not looking at it. You are not, I would like to compare like the print by Dürer, in which he made that window with a lot of grids and looking at the model's body and then drawing. So you are looking through the that window, look at the body and then drawing it, transforming that window on the painting. But that does not happen when we are looking at the window when in the Microsoft window, because we are just looking at it. We are not going to transform it. We can't look through it. It is a very much what you say, a solid entity, even if it is a very virtual. You can't look through it. So that is a kind of difference which brings even when the body is represented in through the window in Renaissance concept of painting, and the body represented on the Microsoft window. Yeah, the digital window is very different from the window of Renaissance perspective or the cinema screen, because the same concept of window looking through that transforms into camera, from camera obscura to camera, and of course to the films also, because you look through the camera, that window, and you frame that whole concept of framing, or looking at it or looking at it like this. These are the kind of framings which are happening that actually refers to the Renaissance concept of window. Digital windows is very different from the windows of Renaissance perspective or the cinema screen. The Renaissance metaphor of window is a tool to look through, whereas the digital window concept is to look at. Digital window is not something one can look through. There is no other side. So the fifth Microsoft window or the digital window, that whole discourse of inside-outside, which was very much a part of identity issues. And when we've seen after 70s where the feminist or where the other identity, that peripheral identities, LGBTQ or the racial issues, blacks, and also starts discussing, that is the time period when we see that inside-outside discourse which comes. So Microsoft window, digital window also actually question that whole concept of the body in context with the inside-outside. So your presence within that discourse, you are in center or you are in peripheral, that does not come in. But we have to, this is the window, creates that kind of, I won't say false, but I will say the simulated democracy. How much it is true and how much really it exists, that we will discuss when we come to later point of my presentation. The new media aesthetics is not concerned with seeing or representing the world in new ways, but rather with accessing and using previously accumulated media. In this respect, which terms new media as post-media or meta-media, as it uses old media as its primary media. It is new computer-based media access, generation, manipulation, and analysis. Forms remain the same, but how these forms are used changed radically. Thus, develop a discourse on what is real and ideal in image making and the historiography of body. New media discourse concentrates on how mystification of actual computer operation, anthropomorphic projections, and create a cultural imaginary in which digital subjects are understood as autonomous creatures, imbued with human-like motives, goals, and strategies. Thus, the digital subject brings forth a dialectical positioning of humans and artificial creatures in relation to each other and hybrid subject. That's what the concept of post-human body comes into. So this is the discourse which I wanted to bring actually. There are a lot of, means I'm going to discuss about these artworks which I'm talking about Indian artists, especially new media. New media, this term is always very much controversial. It is, many of the people question it, how much we can call it. So it is controversial, and which media you will call new media, that is also controversial, because when I was 50-year-old, when I started my career, I will say my profession, or I became art historian, the new media was actually video. New media was even digital, it was the VHS format, then the digital cassette, and then the CDs. So new media, first we see that is the video we were considered, and slowly shifted to the digital photography, or even the digital prints are considered to be the part of new media. Now that has also turned into the 3D digital 3D print also. So many discourses had come. So this whole discourse on new media, it is the new media, what is the new media, and which are the that conflict also comes into it, which are the kind of softwares, or which are the kind of machines one is able to use, or I won't say only one is able to use, but even one is it is available to the person, because it completely depends on the kind of nation you are existing, and the kind of availability of the softwares and the availability of the machines, the kind of machines you can access to. majority of the new media artists which I am showing today, the works, they are all coming from reputed institutions in India. Majority of them are from designing institutes exposed to various kind of what to say, the technological developments which were available, the best quality of technological developments which were available at their end. So, and I'm doubtful, I mean, I'm not even familiar with, I myself was not familiar with, say, 3-4 months back about the difference between Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. I am sure many of my students still are not familiar with the differences. So that kind of background, when we talk about new media, that's why I am very much, what you say, conscious when I talk about new media. I talk about kind of, the availability and all, because the reality, the local reality has different kind of thing. I know many of my students have created videos with the very cheapest mobiles and the kind of limitation of editing facilities which they had, with that they have worked on because they can afford that. Of course, that will not come to the at par with the kind of artworks which I am. So all these issues and getting into NFT, of course, you have to be familiar with that Web3. Very few mobiles are apt to that Web3, and many of the students can't afford to have the laptops. They are working in India, that is on their mobile, and that also on very cheap level of the mobiles. And getting on the NFT is, of course, a very kind of conflicting position for them. So being very aware of that reality, I am looking and I'm working on this. So, of course, there are certain things which are very enamored you when you look at those works. There are certain things which really makes it exciting how it is and all. But in the backside, always this reality is. So when you look at a work of art, or when I discuss about this whole discourse of post-human body, there is this reality where the body is still existing in its own social, political, economic situation. And that, so this thing, body, how much we can put, and then again that Frederick Jensen's whole discourse of postmodernism as a answer, postmodernism as a, what do you say, the product of post capitalism, and that those issues becomes a very important aspect. Again, repeatedly it is happening, because we have to know that the internet is also a product of the Second World War. So the whole that war position and the kind of way it is used by the capitalist thing, of course, that aspect also on that medium is very much there, and the realistic position of the person which is there. So all those aspects become a very much when we talk about the whole discourse on post-humanism. In India, in 1990s, we start talking about that actually happens with this Jack's Media Collective. This was a group of 3 artists who started with that their works, and they very clearly in their starting things, they divided the Indian society also digitized, non-digitized, and they talk about non-digitized society into the digital world. So that positioning also in starting was a problematic position for me, because the representation of non-digitized population within the digitalized medium, where they can't access, they can't push, they can't be present, and represented in the galleries. Again, that is another very, even if it is a public space, it is defined manipulated as well as controlled by the owner of the gallery. So that space, even if it is a public space, within that when it is represented, and you are representing in a digitized format, the non-digitized. Their works have some of the works are very interesting. Like they talk about the body basically based on the data. Even if they are not referring, they are very much their works are more like video works or digitalized video works and all like that, or this kind of machine-based kind of things where they but their concept of body is very much data-based, which is related with the city. They take a political position, of course. Their data are all related with the body, situated within the context of a city where that is residing, situated within the architecture where which they are residing. So their political position comes from the selection of the data. The political position comes from the selection of data, interpretation of the data. But the representation of that becomes a different position. This is another artist, and another thing that you will find majority of the new media art projects are collaborative. Majority. Because many of them actually use technical support from other people also. So that is another kind of thing that becomes they are majorly actually they do. That is another interesting aspect in India. You will find many of the artists, they will paint also, they will sculpt also, they will make a video also, they will make a new art also. Because that has more related to the market aspect of the Indian arts. Because in the end, painting sells. In the end, many of the sculptors are forced to do painting. In the end, the object of art which sells, that is still becoming the part of NFT. Because in the end, whoever has the token can take a printout and put, others can't take a printout. It is very difficult to get an image of those artworks online. Even you can't copy it from their Instagram accounts, you can't copy it on the Google Images, which is accessible to everyone because those are the token is to the someone else. So you can only see it, you can copy it, download it, but it has a lot of what do you say? It is not free from what you call the authorship. And again, the authorship is not with the artist; it is with the one person who is owning the token. It's a similar other kind of thing which happened in many of the Indian arts. And majority of the modern artists do not have authorship of their own copyright. They want to represent their own artworks, images. So those aspects of market, I will of course take in. I'm talking here, but we can have discussion. These are the works Krinal and Tagra also takes into consideration this kind of machine-based artworks which create. Like this is a work where you are draw on that board down and then that is getting on the image. So those kind of works are also done. Design Machine Collective, that is again very political position, but they use various kind of machine-based kind of things and of course video and all. They come from the northeastern part of India, especially they are from Assam, a state of northeastern state in India. And they talk about the whole concept of marginality, the concept of borders, the mental borders, visual borders, national borders, and the kind of conflicts, political conflicts, which are developed on the basis of those kind of borders, or the marginal aspect of it, the peripheral or the central, the whole concept of borders which they actually do. So their works are related to those kind of position. They use majorly the video. Many of the installations are related with the video and some machine based, like this is the old factory. They have created a kind of machine which moves So a very simple mechanical kind of thing, but it relates to the whole kind of the how you interrelate with how you. These are all interactive articles. So the viewer coming and relating. He became a kind of like this is in April 2021 only. He became one of the major of the art scene in India because he was the one who sold his NFT in highest price on the Christie's auction, and that is related with his metal that of which he transferred that work into the full concept of orgasm and transferred that into the mental data and AI working. He worked with various kind of scientists and another AI artist, Harshit Patel, and then together they developed that whole work. And it is the end product is not just a simple digital image, but it is a mixture of digital image and the painting on the canvas, because he is basically a trained artist, academically trained, he does illustrations and all, and so he never actually differentiates. So painting is there, but that's the kind of digitalized, the way the AI works and how that machine also adds to that. So those are his Raghav KK. He is the first one who, I wouldn't say first, but he is the one who has even historically documented the development of NFT also. So he talks, he's the one very much post-human body, pro, what to say, NFT and that whole digitalized reality, and promoting very much that. These are his works, which are actually 3D prints of his AI works. He has been, his comments, see, this is another thing, like the process, I am finding it very interesting. It is similar. The bodies are again here not existing on its own. They are becoming the, what to say, representation of the concept of body or the concept of political connotations the artists want to that. Harshit Agarwal. He, as another artist, this is the data which he put into the AI machine, and that data turns into the kind of sticks. Now that sticks can convert into the dog, that sticks can convert into a kind of landscape, and all. So that data is given simple data to the sticks, and one can manipulate and of different ones. And this work is related to the concept of body, which he takes it from the Lembra's work of that portrait of doctors, where the dissected body, human body is kept, and how. So this is the algorithm of the internal of the body he talks about, and this is the algorithmic work, and the data which he gave that is related to the Rembrandt's work, and the kind of like as an artist, what I have studied about that whole thing, the portrait of doctors by Rembrandt. That just to because they wanted to represent the doctor. So how you want to show difference between the doctor and then say this other thing that is the night watch? So they're showing them into their action. So that's why he showed them with the dissected human body. He is taking not the body of the data is very selective in this. Data is not related with the bodies of the doctors which are represented, but it is related with the dissected dead body which is lying. And that dead body does not have any kind of visuality in the portrait of painted by Rembrandt. But here the algorithm is related with the data which is provided of that dead dissected body, human body. This is the kind of another AI, like how your moods and all converting. Now this is the image which he refers to Tayyam, which is a folk storytelling theater. It is not a theater actually. I won't say it is a drama. Tayam is a kind of a folk dance drama, but it is a more story narrating. So this place is becoming the different masks of Tayam. So that's why Harshit Agarwal always says that in the end, how much AI is used, how much it is creating. It may create a new body on its own. It may, the algorithm may take. But the data provided to the machine, that is provided by the artist, that is provided by the human mind. And that human mind, of course, is situated in his or her own cultural and political and social background. So this background, of course, dictates the kind of form the algorithm will take. The kind of form the algorithm will define. Because basic data is from the human mind. That is different. This is another artist, Krinal Kulkarni. He is another one who actually most famous. These are all Agarwal, K.K. Raghav, Krinal Kulkarni. These are the artists who are much more sought after on the NFT websites. There are around 14, 15 websites. Of course, it is not a very big market in India yet. It won't be, because Indian art market still want the solid object of art. So the kind of thing it is trying, it may not work. Young software engineers and all are targeting to it, buying it, but of course it is still not. There are many, what to say, doubts about it. So these are his works. He creates a lot of, again, this is the digital. He narrates the story of Delhi, where he is born and brought up, but he studied in US. I am intentionally trying to give this kind of backgrounds because that availability of the machine, which kind of availability of the machine you have, also decide the kind of sophistication in your depiction also. This is the note which was actually introduced in 2018 by the present government. So he uses like he converts Gandhi, who was a father figure of India, not father, he's a national father, nation's father, and representing him as a robot. There are many images. There are many images he has used him as a so manipulating, digitally manipulating, and I am surprised to illustrate why there is no questioning happened on it. Because there was a painting by one of the artists, where he had represented this emblem, which is you can see on this note where my cursor is. He had used that emblem in his painting, in which he had represented the painting, which is related with the Greek myth of Icarus, and that painting had created controversy, and that was it was presented in a National Gallery of Modern Art in India, and it was banned, and it was closed down. The exhibition was closed down by the government, and I'm surprised by these things have not been questioned because this is done on the current. Of course, it is a digitized image of the currency, but the whole what to say, discourse, because it is still in unauthorized, it is still unregularized. NFT is not regularized in India. Financially, it is not in a business aspect and all. Government is thinking about, even cryptocurrency is not yet regularized. So government is thinking about, so still it is not, and that is also one reason why so much of money is spent on it. It is not yet regularized. It is not taxable. So Krinal Kulkarni is doing various those kind of images, which is very attractive, very much like pop comic strips and all like that, and creating those kind of, yeah, this is the Ravi Koranga. He's another artist. Majority, like he's from Bangalore. Again, that is the site, Bangalore, Hyderabad. These are the places which are the what do we call them? These are the cities where more digital or more exposure to digital, virtual, and all those things are there. K.K. Raghav is also from Bangalore. Ashana Agarwal is studied from NIT Ahmedabad, so that is also National Institute of Design, exposed to a lot of different kind of technological things. He also he draws, basically he draws, and then he is making animations, and those are converted into NFTs. So digitized artworks. Shea Daphne, she is an architect, and she's also studied from Bangalore, but now she's settled in Bangalore is a city from southern part of India, Karnataka. Hyderabad is also the cyber city. These are the cyber cities we because they were the first all like Infosys and all those big huge companies which are related with the computers and all are based in Bangalore, Hyderabad, these are the places. So majority of these artists are coming from that because they are exposed to that very young age. Then compared to semi-youth artists from other states. So she is also taking references to Yakshagana and Bhutas. Bhutas are another images from the folk tradition of Karnataka, the southern state. And these are all created out of the data, digitized images. These are the, and this is another work which she has created to. She takes another take on very much like these all Bhuta images which she has converted, those are all feminine. So that feminist take which she takes into her work. This is also the other work also is like how a woman should protect herself. So those are the other, and you can see another very aspect. I checked, I have been searching, I have been seeing because looking into that, I can find only 4 or 5 women artists in New Media. So that is also very interesting aspect. And I won't take into this thing that the women are not exposed to that kind of technology which the male are exposed to, because the kind of class from where this 4-5 women artists are also coming from the same class where the males are also. So it doesn't have anything to do with economical aspect. They are all selling on foundation. That is their works and are available. So they all are actually taking that kind of position. So I find it, I have to search or I have to think about why less women artists are exploring new technologies. Because they are also exposed. It is not that they are not exposed, but there are very few women artists. I have not yet, I have not pinpointed, I have not come across, I can't imagine at present what is the thing. Of course, I will look. I have actually discussed many of those conclusions. So I think I will stop it here because I talked with relation with the soul that how the artwork incorporates ethical, sociopolitical, and historical data in an ever-changing virtues is created through various technological processes. So how the post-human body, which is again, it is talking about the post-humanist body, but it is produced out of the cultural mythical, because many of them are using mythical stories like Bhutas. These are all referring to the very mythical aspects of the body and the sociology. That everything getting connected to those all aspects. I think I will close it here. These artworks propounded the idea of mind separated from the performative body of the subjective agency of the artist and viewer. It creates a visuality of the body that has embodied mythical memory, historical memory, and personal interpretations. The post-human discourse propounded that the intelligence information appear to have lost their bodies, become dematerialized and disembodied. Machines are imagined as the final liberation from the human and for the novelty of post-human. But these artworks raise questions. Is it possible to dispose of embodied enactment in new media? These new media artworks represent the visuality of body is an indexical, mythical, and historical image behind the surface of virtual worlds by very concrete processes of material production, labor, capital, and work grounded in space and time. So that is my presentation. If there are any questions, you can discuss that. Should I close the presentation?
Okay. Thanks, Marina, for the wonderful and impressive speech. So now it's QA time. Does anyone have questions? Okay. If there is no
Voice
question,
is not coming. Your voice is not coming.
oh,
声音，
声音
没问题。
好好。If there is no question, I have some question to ask. 那个塔君，我讲中文，你再帮我翻。
好的，我在准备。
就是 NFT 是近年在科技和艺术上都非常新兴的关键字，那和那个他的研究题目也有很多的关联。那我想知道说，从他在谈的这个后人文主义身体的角度来看的话，他是怎么看待因此产生的人和科技之间的连结？这样。
First question is, in NFT is a very popular keyword in the technology and art in recent years. It is related to your research topic as well. So I would like to know from the perspective of post-humanist body, what is your opinion on the result of the people and technologies linkage? Thank you.
Maria, can you hear us? Maybe there is some question about the sound.
Hello, madam. Can you hear us?
Okay, just wait a moment.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, is it okay?
Yeah, now I can listen.
Did you hear the question?
No, I could not hear. There was no sound coming.
Okay, I will repeat that translation again.
Yeah.
NFT is a very popular keyword in the technology and art in recent years. And it is related to your research topic as well. So I would like to know from the perspective of post-humanist body, what is your opinion on the result of the people and technologies linkage in this?
As I already put forward that like NFT, even if it has become very popular, but it is very small in number at present, especially in India. And worldwide, West it is very much higher, India it is very much late. It will, of course, that's what I said, like I have found only one woman artist who is selling on NFT. I have not found any other women artist yet. So that is another one aspect I'm finding it very strange because two, I think there is one more Chennai-based artist. She is also doing that. But there are very few women artists are there selling on NFT. And there are very few people who are, because there's a lot of fake works, also copy works are also coming online related to that. There are a lot of they are charging gas charges are also charged. That is fluctuating very much. So even if it is showing that it is very democratic space, anyone can upload that without taking into consideration what the gallery was speaking. But there is a lot of conflict. There are a lot of problems. Of course, that may change, but at present there are a lot of problems. And I don't know how it is going to go. I hope I have answered.
我简单中文几句。那个虽然那个 虽然那个 NFT 是怎么说呢，很流行，可是在印度还是没那么发达。然后那个他所知道是在现在那个在印度，尤其是那个女性方面这个方面才完全是怎么说呢，比较落后的。他所知道是到现在只有2位女生在关于这个方面的。然后虽然这个是其他国家很发达，可是在印度关于这个问题也很多，所以他自己也不知道到底怎么讲。对，谢谢。没有声音。
我这边再继续问，可以哈，好，就是那个，就我很喜欢Mrinal 对于后人文主义身体的观点。那我想借用他的说法，我们是不是可以将后人文主义身体视为一种更加广泛的对于人和科技之间关系的指称？那同时也想请问讲者，就是我们要怎么区别后人文主义身体和人造的这2个概念？谢谢。
Second question is, I really like your point of view on the post-humanist body. So, can we use your argument as a broader reference to the relationship between women and technology? And how would you distinguish between the concept of post-humanist body and then artificial ones?
And then post-humanist or post-feminist, you're saying?
Post-humanist.
And last line, can you repeat again?
Artificial.
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be used in that context, and it has a lot of conflicts in that also. Because artificial intelligence, even if we are saying the data is given by a human person, and the machine is the working that is related to what is the data given. So only machine can manipulate in the data which is given to the machine. So this is like the painting, the work by Harshad Agrawal as well as the KK Rathos, that orgasm thing. It is what the kind of a mental, what you say, the mental position of the orgasmist person has, that is transformed into data. And within that data only, what are the possibilities of interpretation and the body is created. So of course that will have, endly it is getting connected to the human body. So it is not completely disembodied existence. It is an embodied. It has the kind of references to the embodied body. The embodied experience of the artist.
因为我们网络的关系，我也没那么清楚。那个简单的讲就是，虽然科技觉得很厉害，可是它 只能做到就是我们可以提供它的数据，可是没有比那个我们真正的人类一样。对，谢谢。
好，那我这边再提最后一个问题，好，就是稍等一下，那个在讲座中提到，就是人跟 technology 的那个关系在自然界限中越来越模糊，那个三者之间的那个关系也互相影响彼此的发展。那近年在台湾的那个展览中，就是有一件是以印度的新兴科技城市诺伊达为主题，像是那个2021亚洲双年展，Asian Biennial 里面有一个叫 Sharbendu 的作品，讨论了科技对于人类生活的一些改变。那奎碧就是我们另外一位主持人，他在过去的作品中也讨论了发生在诺伊达的一个案例，就是诺伊达是一个科技产业很发达的城市，但当地的一大部分族群却没办法享受到这个产业带来的科技便利，所以我们想询问，就是关于这背后资源分配的机制。那就讲者的观察，人和技术和自然界之间的界限，是不是同时也受到资本主义和全球化的影响？谢谢。
The last question is, as you mentioned in your article and presentation, the boundaries between women or people, technology, and nature becoming more and more blurred. And these three also can be influence each other's development. In recent years, in some of the works exhibited in Taiwan, several of them are titled in India's that emerging that city, the technology city in Noida. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Jamia's voice is not coming.
哦，可以听到吗？我的声音？
我这边可以。
哦，Madam, can you hear me? 好像那边的网络。Hello. Hello. Madam, can you hear me?
马密说要不要打这个问题？
哦，打字吧。
因为讲者的耳机好像连不到声音，所以可不可以请这个问题是用打字的，让他知道这样子。
等一下，我直接跟他讲一下。
去那个问题只有一半，我把后面的贴上去哦。
哦，对，我有直接给
Now
他。
you're audible.
Madam, please see in that messenger I have already sent.
Okay.
Okay, actually, I was already referring that the availability of the machine, what kind of availability of the machine the people have, or the kind of economical differences which are there, very strong economical differences. Of course, it is a product of the capitalism. Because what kind of availability, how much high kind of mobile, as I already said, that many of my students are not aware of the difference between Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. They may be knowing that WhatsApp, WhatsApp or not. They may be knowing whether they can access Instagram or not. They may not be knowing that they are able to access Instagram because it's good. Right? So this is, of course, this is a very much a product of capitalism and globalization, because it creates a very kind of false image of that it is politically available to everyone. But in reality, it is not, because the kind of economic position you are coming from. I mean, there are many people still I know who are using the old kind of mobile. They can only afford to that. But then, India is one of the countries which is highly connected. As the largest number of the people are using mobile. But very few, many people might be using a Web 2 mobile. But a lot of people can't write or can't read. So they are only access that many of the things that is through the visual. These are, there is a boundary between people and culture and everything. Of course, it is very much. So they are exposed, but they are not that much aware of it. It is answered. I agree to it. It is.
Finish it. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, Madam, you have finished it, right? Because of the internet here, a little bit problem.
Oh no.
OK， 那我来简单讲一下那个，对那个刚才那个你的提问里面也讲到那个，虽然在那个南维达是个很怎么说呢，印度的所谓的那个科技城市，有很多人没办法享受，因为那个印度是个一个怎么说呢，人口很大的国家，虽然比如说那个拿手机的那个例子来说，虽然印度是世界上算是那个用手机最多的人口，可是其中还有很多人到现在没办法享用到这些什么智慧型的手机。然后同样，虽然有很多很厉害的人，可是还有很多文盲的人，所以这些都是印度里面存在的问题，所以这也是代表那个印度的怎么说呢，自己的问题和另一方面怎么说印度的自己的特色性嘛。然后他们不是不知道这些，也是他们视觉到这些，然后正在那个挑战而进步中。对，谢谢。声音。
Thank you, Mrinal. and there's someone have a question. 那个 Ricky， 你要不要念一遍你的？你要不要讲一下你的问题？
我就写在那，我就直接读，就 Thanks to Professor Maria
but I can just
yeah.
the question on the archive.
What? Yes. My name is Ricky, and okay. 我就不念了，因为他好像听不到我这样。我用中文讲一遍好，反正就是我简单把他的提到的关于 Windows 的 metaphors， 然后回扣到魁壁的小组要做的小字，然后我想要好奇的是说，他提到两个，一个是不能看过去的这个窗口，对，然后一个是过去的这个是你可以就是它有不同的 Windows 这个的隐喻，但是我们要怎么样把它的这个放在魁壁的，这是他们小组做的这个小字。就是对我来说，这个小字好像就是一个旧的一个东西，它不再是一个数位时代的 Windows 这样。这是我觉得有趣的地方，就是我想要知道他做的东西，他今天提的一些东西，我们要怎么样回过头来看？我们要在这一次就是关键字计划里面做的东西，这样。我试着把不同的东西把它放在一起，这样。
魁壁的小字是那个我不了解，所以。
魁壁的小，那个 zine 的话，就是我们在这个计划里，就是邀请一个印度的小志叫做马希拉 zine，然后请他们根据我们提供的关键字，然后征集很多的稿件，然后变成他们当期的那个内容。对，简单来说就是这样哦。但我不知道这个问题，那个讲者有没有办法回答，因为我不确定魁壁有没有跟他细说的整个计划的结构。
那我跟他简单问一下，就
没有关系。如果是真的很麻烦，就不用。对啊。
Okay. Madam, can you hear us? Hello.
Yeah.
好像他听不到。Hello, Madam. Hello.
讲者表示他目前还是听不到声音，比如还是可以请麻烦用打字的呢，因为他好像可以声音吹出来，但是他听不到我们的声音。
好，那因为问题已经在那个对通讯息栏里面，那凯青要不要补充一下他看他是不是能够回答的问题？这样。
Madam, can you hear us?
他听不到，直接用打的。
OK， 我用手机比较快，等一下。
哦，有他讲，他正在打那个回复了。
I can answer now. I can listen to you people. I can answer the question which I earlier asked. Of course, I also consider zine as a window, but the kind of zine culture which now developing, it is earlier like it is using, of course, the language which is graphic novel language. But earlier the graphic novels were very much based into different windows, and one frame, the narration going to other frame, and then it is like the manual, the simple animated story from one angle to another. So different windows were present. But the recent zine, I heard the word. I know I've been involved with one in that zine also. So in that you will see not that kind of window coming, but of course the window to the world through the graphic stories and the written word, the kind of word also becoming image and becoming the part of the image, and referring to the word image also becoming part of written word. That is of course becoming the window. That is the continuation of the traditional concept of the window, through which we can look through. It is not a very opaque. I hope it's answering the question.
好，那
Second sound is gone.
那个 Ricky 应该这个部分 OK 吗？
Okay, thank you.
好，那 Does anyone have questions? Okay. If there is no question, maybe let us thanks for Marina's speech. 那个塔琴就帮我做结这场讲座吗？
Thank you for everyone. And then because of my internet problem, the very first important part of this introduction in English for those who don't understand in Chinese, that was in the first part of the presentation, but because of my internet connection, so we were not able to present. So please let me quickly tell this in English. First, I want to introduce the Asian Contemporary Art Keyword Dictionary project. This is due to the risk of this COVID-19. So countries around the world have purposely, strict measures and then border control. So, because of that, so many various hashtags such as hashtag stay home, hashtag stay healthy, hashtag quarantine, so on. So also a bit on social media. And addition to gradually generating new localized content in the globalized context. And social media users have other values and use of these words, and then also it reflected the characteristic of this era, and then our time. And then in the first stage of the exhibition of this project, we focus our artists in interdisciplinary experimental writing, video, sound, and then research, and collect terminologies characteristic of this time and era through the discussion from artists from different regions. And then these terminologies then be reinterpreted in video, sound, and other media. And then result will be dictionary of keywords emblematic of the era, outline different phases of this Asian contemporary art. And then project will be was launched in 2020 and then has been carried out in the form of online workshops and then facilitated transnational connections. Then first stage online presentation was done in 2021. And then recently we have established new website, and also we continuously look forward an approach to discuss and with different institutions in physical real world. And also this is project is honored to be work with Mahila Zine project and also the Asian Contemporary Art Keywords Dictionary project. And then the keyword was the lockdown that was generated during the COVID-19 pandemic. And then for this, we have invited many artists to create works from the experience and observation they had during the lockdown. And we also contain the original magazine still of the Mahila Zine and present the multi language. Yeah. And then convert them into image and text, which is suitable for the online publication. Yeah. And finally, this team behind this project is I have to mention is the creative teamwork is mainly done by today's award that main host Mr. Tai Bing Chu, and then his co-worker Liu Kuibi, and then Lee and Tai has processed solid art school training and much international exhibition experience. Lee has exhibited her work in France, India, and then Cambodia. And then Mr. Tai used to work in non-profit art organizations as well as commercial art companies, through which he has gained professional experience in art administration and exhibition production. And then for them, art should be able to cross border and serve as bridge between communication of people from different disciplines and places. In the past, they also have co-produced beyond territory and inside the outsider. And they expect to produce more experimental project in the future. And thank you very much.
OK， 谢谢塔琴的解释。那我们讲座就到这边，谢谢大家参加。
Thank you, everyone. And we have finished our meeting for the day, and then thank you very much for everybody's participation and especially for the madam's presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was nice to be collaborating with you. Thank you.
Thank you.